Hello and welcome to an extra show today. This is what we used to do before I was doing my 8 o'clock show. So this is the time when Eva and Alicia and myself come together and share our Galactic SiStars work. So we decided to split the Ascension updates to give them more specific topics to make it easier for you guys to know what we're talking about and when. So as my stuff's more about the soul wisdom and the soul vision, today we're talking about our galactic work and our earth leveled work on how we bring the heaven on earth templates together. So this is the kind of planetary humanitarian kind of work that we do in the background. And I'm sure many of us are called to do this kind of work, but we feel that everyone has their own part of the puzzle. And if we share what we're doing, then maybe you might find that you're doing some of this, or at least you can connect to what work you've been doing. So again, we're going to be live for 30 minutes. And these are going to be ad hoc, I think. So they're not going to be like every single Monday, but they will be at 7 p.m. British Summer Time, which is 2 o'clock Eastern Time for Canadian time. So just so you get an idea, that's when we'll come. And if you subscribe to the channel, then at least you'll see the notifications when we're going live. So welcome back, Eva and Alicia. It's been about a month since I saw you last.
Yes, happy to be here.
Yeah. So everything okay with you guys?
Yeah, lots of big things have been shifting and moving, but yeah, all good.
So we continue, even though we're only coming live to share what we're doing sort of ad hoc. We thought it'd just make it relevant to when we've got new insights, we'll share them. But we're still working in the background. And I think it's safe to say that whilst last year we were working on this kind of understanding how to bring more abundance to the planet, it's evolved into this understanding the new manifestation energies for creating on Earth and the energies that we need to evolve us from being the 3D human into the quantum human, into this more evolved 5-dimensional, 5th-dimensional energy. So today we want to talk about the manifestation energies that we've been working with over the last 3 weeks. So before we get started, let me just check we've got the comments coming on this side. So yeah. Dana, Conscious Evolution Channel. Hello, everyone. Much love. I see you. It's Monday again. Yeah, it comes to something when you're using us going live as the indication that it's Monday. So yeah, so this one's a little different. I'm going to be live again at 8 o'clock doing my usual Monday, but this is one of our extra ones, an extra special gift to you guys today with Eva and Alicia. So I'm Trudy and I'm White Star Soul Guidance, and I'll let you ladies introduce yourselves.
And I'm Alicia, co-creatrix of Crystalline Ascension.
And I'm Eva, co-creator of Crystalline Ascension with Alicia.
And we've come together today to share with you what we've been seeing on the etheric and the earth grid planes of the kind of new landscape that the Ascension energy is bringing in. So we used to call these Ascension forecasts, but it's getting to the point that this year has no form. So it's really hard to forecast what's going to happen because you guys get to choose how this year unfolds. And we've decided to call them updates instead. So we'll update you with the frequencies, the new energies that are coming in, and then you can decide how to use those energies and what they mean to you. So we'll group them up into ad hoc, kind of maybe at least monthly, we'll get together, yeah?
Yeah.
And then maybe a few others when there's new energies in that we're excited to share with you. So we've got 3 energies that we've been working with over the last month. And one of them is to do with a Venetian, the sort of beings from Venus, and St. Mark's Basilica, which was quite an odd combination. The other one was to do with genies and the Queen of Sheba. And the last one's to do with Mount Sinai. And that's the mountain where Moses spoke to God. So they're the 3 energies that we've been working with over the last 3 weeks. So if that sounds interesting to you, then get yourself a cup of tea, come and join us and just tune into these energies with us. So ladies, the first one was to do with the Venetian energies. And I don't know what to call the people from Venus. So I'm going to make sure we emphasize, because it did link to Venice. So to make sure that we get the Venice and the Venus beings not confused. This energy was coming in, and again, all of our work is to do with how can we bring more of the abundance energy to Earth. So when this came up, it was quite interesting that St. Mark's Basilica is a really beautiful Byzantium chapel with all this gold mosaics all around it. So it kind of was really interesting that that came up as abundance, because it does look absolutely sparklingly gold in the sunlight. And the energy that we were working with there, how could you describe that kind of Venus energy? We knew that like Venus is about love, but do you guys tune in and can you put into words that kind of energy that we were releasing? Because it was a trapped energy again that we were working with. And it seems like the last 3 sessions that we've had together was about untrapping energy that we should have more access to for us as humans to manifest more. So they were all slightly different, but I think they all have a similar theme of us being given back the power to manifest for ourselves. So before I pass over to you, we've got a Zenny unicorn saying, "Hi, Mom."
Hi, Zenny.
Hi, Zenny.
Love the name, Zenny Unicorn. I thought we'd give her a shout out.
Yeah, oh, beautiful. Thank you. She'll love that. It was just to add some little bit more humor. I have to, sorry. She came to me this morning and I let her know. I usually let the kids know when I'm going live. And she said to me, "Mom, aren't you scared to go live? Just in case, you know, like what happens if you have to fart? Like, what do you do?"
Well, we can answer that because Zoom has obviously thought about this. And when you're on Zoom, it takes all the background noises out. So I doubt if you did, it would even show up.
Oh, she's so fun. She's 8, so she's really cute and fun, and she's really expressive. So she just comes out with these really interesting questions. So oh, beautiful.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask why she asked you that question.
That's the way she likes to release. I say I like to burp when I release, and sometimes when energies come up, because she knows sometimes when we're on call, sometimes energies come up, and you know. So I think that was her curious question. So, anyways, so
that's a good point to bring up even before we get into the ascension energies. Is that I know a couple of people who sneeze or have body kind of air
yawn,
in their body and yawn, and
Yeah.
all of this happens when we're downloading information. So it's a very, very important question.
Yes.
Thank you, Zenny Unicorn, for that. Oh, and there's a lady called, I don't know her proper name, Headaches Candy. If you want to give me a real name, then I can call you out on that name. So hello to her and hello to Dana on Conscious Evolution channel as well. So they're all watching at the moment. So back to our Venus energy. So when the Venus energy came in, again, all we knew was it was a manifestation energy that we needed to release. And I don't know if you guys remember, but it was all to do with almost like organized religion had trapped this energy for its own benefit and to generate wealth for the church and the Christianity church, because Byzantium was the start of the kind of Christianity movement. And whilst the center of Christianity used to be in Constantinople, Venice actually stole it and took it to Venice for a while before it ended up in Rome. So that was kind of the story that was unfolding. So when it came to releasing the beings from Venus or the frequencies from Venus, they were kind of attracted to the gold of the basilica, and that's what we were releasing. But the energy felt very soft when we released it, didn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say soft too, but the word that came to me, which I don't even know, obviously it's a made up word, but I wrote it down here just in case I would forget. It's like almost like that, that ultimate bliss, but blissmastic energy. It was, it's very hard to describe some of these energies, but it's infused with that very soft and loving and beautiful, but that very blissful energy.
And like I said, these softness energies sometimes are more powerful than the big hard ones, because I think it's all, for Venus, it rules the heart. And the way it's sensing to me these days is that a lot of Venus has been coming up because it wants us to soften all the hurt and the heart pain that we've had so we can receive more energy, because our heart center links our soul and our physical body. So if we've got a lot of armor around our hearts, then it's really hard to let in new energies. So releasing something like the Venus beings from being trapped is basically bringing more heart healing to the planet. And again, I think, like we know the what you call it? Yeah, that's the word I can ever say. That particular energy, you know, that heart energy, we know that's so powerful and so important to how we create on this planet. So having more of that frequency available for us to tap into is really important.
Yeah, for me, it was, I think with each of them, it was a different form of primordial or ancient wisdom. Like each one was uniquely different, but it was almost like there's all this old ancient primordial wisdom that has been trapped within the collective. And I felt like with even the genies, the Venus, the Mount Sinai, is that we went in and we, supported the entrapment of each of this divine wisdom. And basically that's what I was coming up. And even this morning when I tuned in for today, it feels like we're pillars of as above, so below, right? As we do the planetary work, we're going into the ethers, but then all of a sudden we become pillars and we're bringing it down into the ground so that it's grounded. And my favorite one was Queen of Sheba, because even after that, I was able to go outside into the grass and just, ground myself and tune into her and tune into the genies and tune into the different ways that we could start manifesting here on this planet.
Yeah, it's definitely like an old ancient knowledge that's coming up that's been hidden from us for this power of creation. And the genies, when we come on to that, will make much more sense of this, I think. So if we go into that section now, yeah, I've got anything else to say about the Venus energy? No. So after we released that energy, then we moved into the Queen of Sheba, and there was another trapped energy there. And Jinn was one of the terms for genies. And again, we found that King Solomon had locked up some of this energies into his own personal use. So this genie energy was missing from, again, humanity's use. So, this is all symbolic, but you can get the meaning of what we're trying to say here about the frequencies. These are the best words we have to describe it for people to tap into. And this Jinn energy came up because the Queen of Sheba should have had more access to it, but the King Solomon was using a lot of that energy for his own personal gain. So again, when we released that, we always find interesting things when we're doing this, because it's like we don't know the history of some of this stuff and it comes out as part of it. But I'm hoping Alicia remembers the bit about the hairy legs. And I can share a little bit that we learned that was quite funny, because one of the headings of one of the articles we read as we were doing this work was the Queen of Sheba, the demon and the hairy legs, or something like that. It was the title, which was really like, it's got to be a fantastic title for a book, that.
Yeah, definitely. I think see, a lot of times I forget a lot of the stuff that comes through when we're doing all this work, just because just the open channel. However, the hairy legs did catch my attention in regards to, does this go back in the reason why women actually started shaving their legs? And because that Queen Sheba had the hairy legs and was kind of ridiculed for her hairy legs. So in a sense that by shaving the legs, it was like removing and stripping away your power as well, because if that's what she was holding, those beautiful creation or manifestation codes within her, and she was beautiful in all its form, and then he took that away from her, or she allowed him to take it away, whichever way you want to look at it. But that was the story of why we shave our legs, possibly today.
Exactly. I think that when you read the story, and you guys can go read the story on the internet, but the idea was that King Solomon wanted to check her legs to find out if she was a jinn herself, or a demon, as they were trying to relate it to. And if she had hairy legs, then she probably was. And then he actually ordered that she shaved her legs, didn't he? He was the one that actually did it. Because we had to look up the term for it said he called on some product, and we were like, what's that product? And it was a hair removal product, which I must admit, we were like sitting there going, this is really, really odd. How did we not know this about this whole story?
Yep.
But I think the important thing there was, again, that there was a lot of ancient trapped manifestation energy trapped within this kind of concept of in jars that, again, were the jinn that could be released and become part of the normal frequencies of the planet. And I don't know if you've been listening to our previous episodes, but right back last year, we started talking about the Ascension particle, which was the first primordial energy that was coming to the surface for us, like a new energy being released. And ever since, I think Eva was talking about floating icebergs and the ancient codes that were trapped in the ice, so we're seeing, I think, a lot of the heaven on earth templates energy has been here on the planet all along and just trapped in all these different constructs. So if you guys are kind of finding that you're being called to release an energy, then that could be very well what you're doing as well. But also, like Eva mentioned, we are acting as the translation unit, that the energy comes down through us, translates through us, and we are the connector, the bridge between that heaven and earth, and we are that. We have that ability then to bring that energy through us and to make it usable on the planet. And each of us is doing this in our own unique way. So that's what this is all about. But I think knowing that these two new frequencies came on, like Eva said, going outside and feeling that connection, that changed you, didn't it? It changed you on a level that you felt. I'll let you describe how you felt.
Yeah, for me, because I felt really, I've been feeling a lot of energies, old ancient people, wise people walking underneath in the ground. So when we went into that, it was really interesting because that's where I felt Queen Sheba was really underneath, and it just needed the awakening of all her wisdom and all her beauty from underneath. And this is why I felt it so easy just to ground into that ground and just ask for that energy to come through the souls and come into me. So that's basically what I love to do.
So I'll ask those all listening now, have you noticed in the last, so this would have been for us the last month, wouldn't it? Have you all noticed some changes over the last month in frequencies available, or that you've had more hope, or that your projects are moving a little bit better, or that you're being more creative, or you're tapping into some new ideas? Because all of that will be the third dimensional external view then of what we're describing now. That's how it'll be coming through. And if you are feeling a bit stuck, then just consider that there are new energies for you to pull in, and maybe see if you can let go of the past, close the door to the past, and then just start feeling into these new frequencies and seeing how that wants to come through for you and what it wants you to create. Because this month in June has been very much about everything you've been creating in the quantum. It's now time to take action and birth it into the physical. And I think, again, the reason we're now more able to do that quantum to physical is because of these templates that are constantly upgrading. Now, when we see these templates, they go into the crystalline cathedral. So do you guys want to kind of describe how you see the crystalline cathedral?
Oh, wow. I think that's another one that could be very hard and very intricate to describe, but that feeling that I would describe it as this beautiful, peaceful, creational space that feels, whether it be the bridge or that feels like home, that is like that energetic center to create that home on the outskirts. I guess there's mixed feelings of how it looks and feels, I guess, for myself, but a lot of beautiful light and light codes and frequencies flowing in, and beautiful beings, and just a really magical place, but also not a new meaning to magical as well.
Yeah, I'm with the feeling as well, and I'm usually a visual, but with this, it's more the feeling that you feel. Of course, I see all the beautiful souls that are residing in there and helping us and supporting us, but it's that feeling of empowerment, that feeling of we are here on this planet together, and they're here residing with us and helping us and supporting us walk through our journey. And even the visual I had, because you were asking, like, even if are people feeling the new waves flowing through them, because that's what was shown to me today, was beautiful waves. Like, when we're in that void, we have beautiful frequencies, and now it's almost like it's crumbling away. The old illusions are like floating away, not our fragments, but the old illusions. And it's really, this is where we could put in our new wants, our new desires and manifestations, and really then after that anchor it down into our body. So for me, it was like the awakening more of more frequency waves and sound waves around me for creation.
Yeah, definitely. And we know that it's got 3 sections. The emerald part is all to do with the physical, and it kind of knows what our physical bodies need to help us take more of the light in. And then we've got this gold one, which is where all the manifestation stuff is going at the moment. It's kind of getting stronger and stronger. It's like this money generator for the planet, because we made sure that we told it, this has to be money, because that is how we survive on this planet. With our creative skills need to be turned into money, so we can have the home, the security, the things that we need to live. So it's just getting stronger and stronger. And we know that our creative energy is also linked to the sexual energy, which goes back to the Venus energy, because that sexual energy is really important to just bring that in and allow ourselves to express ourselves sexually, because if we can't do that, then we're not going to be able to create the creative energy that we need also. So before we move on to the Mount Sinai bit, there's a couple of comments coming in. So I don't want to pronounce some of these YouTube names. Malava, hey Malava. Hi Chi-Chi, hi Lola. And Didier is saying, from my point of view, I feel everyone is working on a different level. I tap into many energies and like bridging it together. So far, I understand not everyone is on the front line. I'm not sure if we even have a front line anymore. It's much more dispersed. The front line has kind of started to dissolve. It's more of a coming together, a community of coming together now. And some are working on the background and some are meant to do something different. Yeah, definitely everyone's doing something a bit different. But I still think it's all in this heaven on earth category. It's kind of like we're all working to finally be able to integrate those higher dimensional energies and our physicality and to evolve us into the new kind of form of human. And that is our underlying soul vision, I guess, despite how it's all coming in. And a couple of days ago, it was a roller coaster of timelines. And so far as you mentioned, ladies, today is a powerful day to open more of the heart connection. Yeah. Yeah, last weekend, and this is what will lead into the Mount Sinai, we noticed that there was an odd energy that came in. It was very soft and very, it was the 6/6 portal. It was still, it was soft and still, like nothing was happening, yet lots was happening. And that was the first time where I couldn't do a reading for the next month, because it was almost like whatever we did that day as humanity was going to decide which way it was going to go. And that's what led us onto Mount Sinai. So we got angelic energies, which is Sophie. Hey, Sophie. So just to mention, working with the Jinn is one of my favorite spirits to be with. Well, there's more of them now for sure. And they come with hairy legs, apparently. So if you're working with the Jinn, then maybe the Queen of Sheba might have something to do with that as well, from what we saw. Okay, so we're up to date on the genies, yes? Anything else you guys want to add on that?
All good.
All right, so then we moved into Mount Sinai. So Mount Sinai is where Moses got his 10 commandments from. And, oh, I forgot to say, I knew there's another part to tell you. It says that it's got something to do with plutonic. Now, where did I see that? So basically, Alicia, you got some plutonic downloads. That was your starting point. I got the stillness aspect of the 6/6 portal. But I'll find the note while you're talking, but there's something about Mount Sinai that has, I'm probably slaughter saying this with my Welsh accent, but let's try it. So it said that Mount Sinai as a mountain had primal, I said it earlier, igneous and metamorphic rocks. Igneous, is it?
Igneous. Yes.
Igneous, yeah. I'm probably saying that wrong.
Igneous, I think.
And metaformic rock.
Something.
And it was basically, Mount Sinai came out from tectonic and volcanic eruptions. But I read somewhere as well that it had a plutonic aspect to it as well, which, considering you saw the plutonic downloads, and then we ended up trying to mix it in with what was oil, which also has that primal organic aspect as well. It's sort of all coming together. So when you saw those plutonic downloads, how did it seem to you?
Those plutonic, I thought it was platonic at that time, but we had investigated a little bit further. But they were coming from the sky, and they were coming in little forms and geometric shapes and sounds and colors, and they were coming down. And so that was my only indication, was that they were coming up from the sky and not from beneath the ground.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got to Mount Sinai, that's when I remembered that that's where the mountain where Moses was, and that's where we ended up doing the work. But there's been a couple of times, I don't know if you guys have seen our turtle replay where we talked about the turtle energies, but that was a similar thing where there was almost like a sub layer underneath a layer. And this is what Eva sees on her Shambhala kind of templates. This is where you go down and you see something underneath something else. So we had the oil cavern, and underneath the oil cavern, there were swans. So you guys felt the kind of, you were posting that week about angelic wings and things, which of course, when you look at a swan's wings, they are almost the manifestation, the 3D manifestation of angel wings, really, aren't they? I don't know if other birds have that same purity of white. And it was a releasing of these, whilst there was still an element of manifestation, it was almost a purity. And we know that if you want to manifest, tapping into that child energy of infinite possibilities, imagination and creativity is the main way to go. So this kind of fitted in with that purity. So when you were tapping into that, the swan energy, you also mentioned that week you were seeing the cygnets or the cygnet constellation coming up a lot.
At that time, I was just getting a lot of messages of swans. I had researched the constellation cygnets because I was wondering if there was a correlation between the two. But it was just a whole bunch of pictures and messages of the swans and swan families. Yes. Just trying to think.
And Eva, with your understanding of Mount Sinai, what was coming up for you?
Yeah, you know what, Trudy? I actually forget, because like Lisa says, when you're in the moment, you get so many downloads and you're just in the moment. And I'm like, what actually happened in Mount Sinai? Like, you know, I remember Queen of Sheba. I think that's where the burst of the wings came inside of the solar plexus, right? Along the ribs. I remember the burst of the wings that were inner rather than outer. And this is where the more angelic flow, creative flow was flowing down. I do remember that part, but I'm stumped.
Well, I think with Mount Sinai, we did debate the oil kind of aspect. And we saw, I think if I remember correctly, we saw the swans were covered in tar.
Mm-hmm. And no wings.
And it was coming up with this tarred and feathered for embarrassing, like when people were punished and being tarred and feathered, it had that kind of energy that we were cleansing back to purifying it. And we couldn't quite relate why the tar and feather, like, was that something that was used against witches or priestesses or something? I don't know. But the energy that we cleansed allowed the swans to be cleansed and then lift up. But again, it goes back to that primordial kind of energy that you guys speak about. But when you tap into this is like your Shambhala codes, which is almost like the earth plane version of the cosmic side. Is that right, Eva?
Mm-hmm. I know that when we were doing the Mount Sinai, I saw the visions of the Shambhala as well.
And it's kind of that, you know, this rock has risen up out of the ground. So that kind of represents that uplifting energy from.
And that's what we were talking about. I remember that we were saying that, you know, how I felt Queen of Sheba under the ground. And you were saying that, oh, it's probably her ascending up above the mountain. And then she comes back down where it gets grounded into the planet.
And for us, it felt a bit also that we were opening up more of Mount Sinai. So if Mount Sinai is where Moses got his commandments, then it's also known as the Mount of the Voice of God. So religious or not, it's from what people are saying, I've not been there myself, but it is a place where you feel that divine connection on a new level. And it did feel like we were cleansing that channel. And it was kind of relating into the Sagittarius moon as well, because we had that focus, direction, becoming the divine arrow kind of energy coming into it. And that connection from the heaven, like almost like a direct telephone line to God. It was that kind of, but no longer was it now contained just in that one spot. It kind of, we saw it dispersing, didn't we? Because the crystal that we were talking about was one of the things that was fed to the swans to allow them to distribute around the planet. Yeah, and this is Amphibole, which is helping you communicate with higher dimensions. And actually this one has Ep.10 on it, which is grounding your divine ideas into reality, giving it a realistic physical grounding so you can birth it into the main 3D world. So that kind of crystal became relevant to the work we were doing, but there was this sensation of this just pure connection. It was almost more pure than before.
It was the knights, right?
Oh yeah, and the knights, yeah.
The knights with all the swords, and all the swords were beaming up together. And this is when we knew that there was a completion, because the beautiful swan was going towards up to the heavens. And that's basically where we knew that we were complete for that moment.
Yeah, the Swan Collective was we had all felt it was very much more aligned with the masculine energy, and that's what brought in the knights. So it's all those beautiful divine masculines awakening. Those
And
purity codes. Yes.
exactly, that purification.
Mhm.
And I guess that's kind of like whenever I've seen tarred and feathered, it's usually men that I've seen that's been tarred and feathered.
Oh,
So
okay.
I guess it could be, and we're still working on this. I'm sure next time when we get together, there'll be more understanding, but maybe it was that purification of that toxic masculinity kind of trend of now purifying it and saying, well, no, there's no toxicity here. We're all trying our best to be the best humans we can be. Let's just wipe the slate clean and let's start with fresh energy. And the primordial energies is almost like that reset back to the Big Bang. And we've had lots of journeys back to the Big Bang to see that purity again at that point of like evolution, starting from this point of newness without all the emotional kind of baggage, I guess.
Mhm.
So that's I know it's all quite abstract and it's hard for us to explain to you, but if you don't listen to our words, you just listen to the energy we're sharing with you, you'll get what we're talking about. We're sending the energy as we're trying to explain it so you guys can connect to it as well. So mystery person says hello. So I say, hello, mystery person. And I think we're coming up to the end of time. So do you guys have anything else to add? I think they were the 3 main frequencies, weren't they?
Yeah. They're beautiful. All of them.
And
Like feel into the feelings, like Trudy said, like the feeling of the freedom and the limitlessness that we were trying to, infuse and describe.
And what would you suggest for people? Do you have any advice on how they can connect to these energies? Because, we're all like what we're doing when we're doing this work, everybody might be doing some of this in their own dream time without realizing it. So we're all doing something for this whole shifting of humanity at this time. But it's also good to realize that we're not all here just to work. The heaven on earth template is about receiving too. So once you've done your work, make sure you plug back in and receive it. If you're here creating an energy or putting an energy back on the planet, do the work, then step back and say, now may I receive it back in its new form, in its new recalibrated form. Now it's with Earth, and can I receive it back? And that's really important part to remember in the work we're doing. Not so that we get so exhausted that we're always giving. Ask for it back and receive it coming back as well.
Beautiful. I think at that time that allows you to recode template as well. And that would be your part of recoding the template. All good?
Mm-hmm. So just to finish, anything now is new. Everything's new. Don't let your past make decisions for you now, because you're not the same person as you were even 6 months ago. The energies have shifted, your body's evolving, your DNA is upgrading, everything's shifting. So it's hard, but if you can get into that point of make a decision based on as if you were a newborn child, making the decision for the first time, then you might see the outcomes you've actually been seeking all this time, because it is starting to align that people are starting to see breakthroughs in things that might have been stuck for years, but starting to see breakthroughs now. And I think everything that we've been talking about tonight is just showing that there's new energies coming down on the planet all the time to support us. They want us to succeed. That's what I feel, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we'll probably schedule another one of these for about a month's time. But if there is anything that comes up in between, then we'll come up sooner and let you know when we're on. But I hope that you just feel a bit of hope or some go get them type energy now today. And fearless courage was another word that came for me. So go for fearless courage and just enjoy life right now and see what it can give you. And I'll say goodbye and we'll just sign off and we'll see you soon. So bye from the Galactic SiStars.
I know.
Bye.